Hey, Lauren and friends. It is I, your happy paint teacher, Sally. Or you can call me the salamander, as many of my friends do. Why? I'm not really sure, but we could just go with it. So I heard it's a special day today. What? Happy birthday, Lauren. Happy birthday, Lauren. So here's what we're gonna do, guys. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to make a cool galaxy painting. And Lauren, since you're the birthday girl, your painting is going to have the Scorpio constellation, right? Is that backwards for you? I'm gonna have to check this when I edit. So I already showed you the list of supplies, but let's just go over them just to be safe, okay? So you should have your area, put some newspaper down or a tablecloth down. We want to protect our surface. You want to have a cup of water. You want to have your paint. You're going to have black, white, some blue, some purple, and some pinks. It really doesn't matter what color because you can always lighten your colors by adding white to it or darken your colors by adding black. So whatever you have, we're just gonna go with it. And then we're going to use today paper towels and a bigger brush, as big a brush as you have, and then a small brush, as small a brush as you have. Okay, so we're just gonna make it work with what you got. We're not gonna stress, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be fun. Okay, because you know why? It's a party, it's a party. It's Lauren's party, that's what it is. Okay guys, so first thing you wanna do is you're going to decide which way you want your canvas. It's up to you, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have my canvas horizontal, sideways. And you're going to start with your black. If your brush is hard, then you can dip it in the water, wipe it on your paper towel, get it so it's bendy. But you want to start by painting the top corner. And I'm gonna add some water to keep my paint nice and smooth. So I'm just gonna coat my canvas with black, okay? What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna keep a diagonal line and I'm gonna start at the top, come down a little bit, okay? I'm gonna come down almost halfway. Okay, then I'm going to add a little water, get some more black, and I'm going to start in the bottom corner. Now here's the thing, if you have, this is a canvas board, so it's flat. If you have regular canvas, then you want to go ahead, paint the sides and the bottom with the black also, okay? So take your time. You can pause this video as much as you need to, right? So you don't have to rush. That's what's so great about it. And you can also pause to open a birthday present, or you can pause to have some birthday cake. There's so many options. You know, Lauren, you're the birthday girl. It's your day, so you get to pick whatever you want to do. You can pause as many times as you want. All right, so I am getting my black from the top down and from the bottom up. So I'm leaving a little bit of white across the middle here, okay? Looks kind of crazy. Also, if you get paint on your hands, don't stress out. If you're using acrylic paint, which Mom, I believe is, shout out to Mom for getting you all these supplies, by the way. then it'll wash off. Okay, try not to get it on your clothes though. Let's not get out of control. All right, so once you have your canvas painted with the black, you can let it dry. If you see streaks of white behind it, give it a couple minutes, let it dry, and then you can go back and add a second coat. Okay, it's up to you. All right, so once this is done and it's as dark as you want it, you're going to rinse your brush. And you want to wipe it off on your paper towel. And you're going to pick your next color. So I have a light shade of blue. So if you have a dark blue and you want it a little lighter, I would add white to it because you don't want it to be so dark that it looks the same as the black. So we're going to get our blue, okay? And we're going to go in this middle space. Now you might be thinking, okay, Sal, this doesn't look like a galaxy at all. Trust me, okay? So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna fill this in. You can overlap the black a little bit, no big deal. Okay, and my black is even overlapping with my blue. Okay. So now we've got a nice blue streak in the middle here. Okay, so this is where the fun part kicks in, okay? You are going to rinse your brush, and again, if you need to pause me to get this, go ahead, pause me until you get this blue on, and then restart like magic, right? So I'm gonna rinse my brush because we always want to take care of our brushes. My brushes are very special to me, so I always want to take good care of them. All right, I'm going to add a little more blue because I might want to use a little bit more. So this is the time to make sure if you used up all your blue and you want to get some more blue, okay? So you do that. I'm going to keep talking while I get more blue. Okay. Here we go, I'm back. Did you miss me? Okay. So I'm going to take this paper towel or whatever paper towel you have. Now, if you have a sponge, this is a natural sponge. You can use a sponge. If you have a sponge from the sink, like for your dishes, you can use that. Paper towels, they work just as good. Sometimes they even work better. So I'm just gonna take just a regular paper towel and I'm gonna ball it up, okay? And I'm going to dip it in the white and I'm just gonna tap along the middle of my canvas, and I'm gonna try to do this so it's not making too much noise. See that? You might be like, oh, she messed up. We're gonna make it work. So I'm gonna tap this all through the middle, okay? Because we want this to kind of look like it's cloudy. I don't know what you call that in space, but that's what we're doing. Okay? So you want to do that now. Once you have that middle part, then you can add just like random taps in the corners. Okay, really light ones though. Okay. Once I have that done, I'm going to get a little bit of purple and I'm going to tap along the edge with my purple. And if you have your canvas flat on your table, sometimes it works better if it's flat. I'm holding mine up because the noise that this is making, it's kind of getting on my nerves, and we don't want that. So I'm going to do the purple, and I'm going to go over some of the black, and I'm going to go over some of the blue. Okay, there's really no right or wrong way. So you're just tapping that out. Okay, and the key is you want to blend it pretty good. You want to get it to mix in to the canvas. Okay, I'm going to add a little more purple, and now I'm going to go up above the blue. And I'm just going to keep tapping. You don't want to rub it with your paper towel. You want to give it, you just want to tap it on the canvas. And you can overlap some of the blue. And you can go out into the black. Okay? So hopefully when you look at this, you can start to see where I'm going with this whole galaxy thing, right? Okay. So now we've got something like that. Okay. So you should start to hopefully see my vision, okay? So what I'm gonna do next is, I feel like I want my middle section to be a little more bright. So I'm going to take a little more white, and I'm gonna tap it right through the middle. Because I want that middle part to really stand out. So I'm gonna tap that in, and I'm using the same paper towel. Same paper towel, and I'm gonna tap it onto each side, tap it into the purple, even so it blends with the purple, okay? So you add as much white or as little white as you want to. But I just think that mine needed a little bit more. Okay, cool, cool. I'm liking it. I'm gonna tap a little bit on the bottom. Okay. The next thing I'm gonna do, thumbprint, we're gonna make it work. Okay. So sometimes, when we're painting and we think, oh my gosh, I messed that up. No, you go with it. You work it in. Look at it, that looks cool. I like that little white spot on there. So see, it worked to my advantage. I might even add a little bit of white. I'm gonna do a little more white in this bottom section. So sometimes if we think we made a mistake, we don't. That it's just an opportunity to add more things to our painting. So I'm gonna go ahead and just keep tapping. Okay. So I'm liking this. I hope you guys are liking yours so far. And I'm gonna add in a little bit of pink now. So on my plate, I have, this is more like a magenta. It's not really a light pink. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this magenta and I'm gonna mix it into my white. That'll give me a lighter shade to work with. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take my paper towel and I'm going to re-ball it up again. I'm gonna get some of that pink and I'm just gonna tap some pink. And I'm gonna do that kind of where the purple meets the blue. But you know, if you wanna do some out, I can do some out in the edge here. I'm gonna keep it going up along the edge of the blue. And I really want to push it in. Okay, so you should see a little bit of pink in there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add some down on this bottom section. Right? Are we liking this? Cool, isn't it? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad it's Lauren's birthday. Lauren's birthday is out of this world. Get it? Okay. I'm sorry, Lauren. I don't know if Mom told you that I was a little crazy. But you know, it's fun, right? It's boring to just, it's boring to be boring. So I'm throwing in some pink. I'm really liking the way this is looking. Okay. There we go. So I've got my galaxy going. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause. I want everybody to take a nice deep cleansing breath. Admire your work. Look at Lauren and say, happy birthday, Lauren. You're a special girl. Okay, great job, you guys. Now, if you think you want to add some black, if you're like, oh my God, I was out of control with my colors and I went way too far in the corners, you can go back. You can get some black and you can just go back in and you can always tap some black into the corners of your painting. Okay, so I went down there. I'll do a little bit up here just to give you an idea. You don't have to, but if you want it to go to a really black color, then you can tap in some black over it. Okay, cool. If you want to go a little crazy and you want to do a little black right in through the center, you can. I just want to see what it looks like. But you know, you can always add colors. So let's say that I do this black and I'm like, oh, you know, I don't really like that. You let it dry, you can go back over it with blue or pink or white. That's the great thing about painting, is you can just keep adding layers until you get it the way you want it. But I'm gonna stick with this. I might even add a little bit more. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead, keep adding the colors to your painting. Okay. And this is the part where if you want to pause and get your colors the way you want, go ahead and do that now. Okay. So the next thing you're gonna do in this part, this is the fun part, okay? This is the part where if you have, oh my gosh, let me rinse my brush. I neglected my brush. That's terrible. Okay, if you have a paintbrush, an old paintbrush, you can use it. But if you don't, and you only brought one paintbrush with you or a toothbrush and you don't want to ruin your toothbrush, that's totally fine. So you're going to take the bigger brush that you had, okay? You want to make sure that it's dry. So after you rinse it, you want to dry it off pretty good. Okay. Now this is the fun part. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our brush and we're just gonna like flick it, okay? And if you're using your toothbrush, same thing, you're gonna point it to the canvas and you're gonna flick it right over the canvas. And we're gonna put white paint on it and that's gonna create the stars, okay? We wanna leave the center a little open because that's where we're gonna put our constellation. So if you want to put the stars of your month, I'm sending a picture with this so you can do the stars of your birth month, okay? All right, so with that said, I'm gonna need some white paint. You want to make sure you just have just white paint. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead, I'll show you just with the brush. I don't want you to stress out if you don't have a toothbrush. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start and just kind of flick your brush over your painting. Now I'm gonna bring this close because now some you might have lines flicked on, you'll see little dots. That's totally fine. So you're just going to flick the white paint onto your painting. And if you have your painting down like this, and you want to tap your paint, obviously I can't do it because my painting's not flat, but if you want to take your brush and tap it so drops of paint flick down, you can do that, okay? I tapped a little bit out of control with mine, so here's a cool trick. I'm just going to make that part of the painting. So if you feel like you have drops of paint that are way too big, no big deal. Tap them in, make it part of the galaxy. No one will know. No one will know. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the way that I was doing it. You do whatever works best for you. If your painting is flat on the table and you want to kind of like tap, you can do that. I'm going to just flick it with my brush. Very important though that when you do this, you have your area protected, okay? Either with tablecloth, newspaper, whatever. We don't want to get paint all over the floor or the table. So I'm really just flicking away so it looks like I have a lot of stars. And a little bit of paint goes a long way. I can keep flicking this brush for quite a while to get lots of stars on here. And again, if you see a spot where you're like, oh, I think that's a little too big, then you just tap that in, make it part of the cloudy part of your galaxy. No big deal. So if you want, and you have a paintbrush or a toothbrush, I keep saying paintbrush, same thing. You're just going to flick that white paint over your painting. So I'm really loading it up with stars, okay? All right, let me plug my charger back in because my battery was low. We cannot have that happen. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Now, again, add stars until you're happy with how many stars you have. Okay, so I have something like that. Okay, cool, right? All right, I'm pretty happy with that. If you want to add more, knock yourself out. Add more stars. I'm pretty comfortable with the way these stars look, okay? So here's the thing. Let your stars dry. And you want to practice making your constellation on a piece of paper, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just gonna practice mapping out all the stars. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put that onto the middle of our canvas. Now, another idea. If you don't want to do stars and you want to do maybe like your name, okay? You can do your name like you normally would, okay? So I'll do Lauren's name in cursive. Okay, so I've got Lauren's name, but I need to add the dots to it. I need to make the stars. So what I would do is I would just pick different areas and make it seem like it's a constellation. You want to make some dots closer together. You can make some dots further apart. So you might have something that looks like that. Okay, totally up to you. But you want to sketch it out, practice it first, okay? And when you think you have a good idea and you're feeling pretty confident, we're going to use Q-tips or your paintbrush or the back of your paintbrush, and we're going to add the dots first, okay? If you're doing a name and you want to go ahead and paint the name first, you can. That might be easier than doing the dots first if it's your name. You want to use a really thin brush, white paint, and you can go ahead and do your name, and then you can add the dots. When I do this, though, I think I'm going to start with the dots first. Okay, just for me, I think it would be easier, but you do whatever way you're comfortable with. So when I do this, I'm going to get my Q-tips or the back of my brush. Okay, either one is fine. And now is the time, if you need to pause, get your Q-tips, get the back of your brush, get a little more white paint. That's what you want to do. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Q-tips. And again, I'm going to take this brush out of the water, set it to the side. Okay, so this is what I'm working with. I'm working with the Scorpio sign. So I'm going to just dip my Q-tip and I'm going to start and just tap it right where I want the dots to go. And these dots are going to be bigger than the little dots that I flicked onto the canvas earlier because I want these to stand out, obviously. And again, does not have to be perfect. It does not. So right now, I've just got the dots going, okay? Just got the dots. That, right like that, is cool, okay? So if you want to just leave the dots, you can, but I'm going to go ahead, I want to add the lines. So I'm going to take my very thin brush, and I am going to add lines from dot to dot. And make them as straight as you can. If it's a little wobbly, no big deal, right? We're human. So I'm gonna connect first dot to the second dot. I'm gonna just do one set of dots at a time. Right, so it's like a fun game of connect the dots. And the trick to having your line as thin as you can is you don't want to press down hard with your paintbrush, okay? So keep your paintbrush light. So you're barely touching your canvas with it. Okay. So here is my Scorpio constellation. Now, if you're doing your name, okay, so if you decided, whoa, I can't start with the dots, that's crazy. I'm going to go ahead And I'm going to show you how to do, if you want to do a word and make a word look like a constellation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write Lauren's name with my brush. Okay, and I'm going to do that very carefully. And I'm being really, really, really light with my brush. And just take your time. Be really gentle when you're writing a word. Now here's the thing. If you're like, oh my gosh, I messed up, I'm so mad. Don't be mad. So remember, what did I say before? If you're trying to do your word or your name and you mess up, tap it in, take some black, tap over it, take some purple, tap over it, blend it in. No one will ever know. Let it dry and then try it again. Easy. Okay, so now you can tell that I have Lauren's name, right? If you wanted to do your constellation this way. So you would just start with the name, okay? You'd write it out with your paintbrush. And then after you write the word or the name, then you go in with your Q-tip. And you pick places where you think it would make sense to have a dot. So I would have a dot at the beginning, maybe in the middle, where the L crosses over. Maybe I want to do 3 up on the curve of the L. Maybe I want to do 4. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on my A. Maybe everywhere a line meets another line. Maybe I want to do a couple in the curve of the A. So you want to just go ahead and add the dots with your Q-tip wherever you think it looks good. Okay. And then there you have it. So I've got my astrology sign, astrological sign, and then I've got Lauren's name. And Lauren, this will be for you. Happy birthday, girl! Okay, guys, I hope that you're having a blast, and I want Lauren, have Mom send me some of your paintings. I can't wait to see what you guys did. Hope you guys had fun, and Lauren, happy birthday.